S.S.S. Sazria, Tov Shin Pei Daled. We're working here tonight a little bit on a skeleton crew. We have a beautiful simcha here at Bika Cholim of Lakewood. Yossi Teller became a chassan. The Vort is tonight in New York, so we want to wish him a mazel tov. And it's a really, really beautiful simcha. And we look forward to, Amir Tashem, we look forward to the chasana. And hopefully it won't be Thursday night at 10 o'clock, because that's our time. And we continue on with the shir. And we've had a good minhag here over the past 15 years, Baruch Hashem, that we've been saying this year every Thursday night. And we have a minhag that when it comes to the Parsha Sazria, this week's Parsha, that we speak about Negoim, we speak about Shmiras HaLashon. And it varies. Some years, Parsha Sazria, Mitzayra are together. This year, being that it's a leap year, so Sazria is this week. And although there are actually a couple of different subjects in the Parshiyos, we felt that because of the importance of the inyan of Shmiras HaLashon and the extreme severity of the Avera of Lashon Hara, that it's a good idea every year, once a year, we dedicate our shir to doing our part of becoming whole Yirei Shamayim, God-fearing people who understand how to conduct ourselves and not just what goes in our mouth and what we eat and things like that, but what comes out of our mouth, how we speak, and the things that we say. And you know, for some odd reason, and we all know this is true, people do not look at Lashon Hara and understand that speaking Lashon Hara is exactly the same thing to a person as walking into you walk into a non-kosher restaurant, you order a ham sandwich, and you eat the entire thing for dinner. That's something that would be absolutely repulsive to us. It's something that we would never even think about, something we wouldn't dream about, and something which gives us a feeling of, I would never do that. Who's going to walk into a treifa restaurant and eat something? Yet, it's possible that the Yetzer Hara has succeeded in training people to think that way, that the Aveir of Lashon Hara, of speaking negatively, speaking badly of other people, is any different. And really, it's the same lav in the Torah, and it's exactly the same thing. But like we said, the Yetzer Hara has a way of putting things into the place that he wants it to be, where we don't take it that seriously. And the Nesivos Shalom teaches us that it's actually worse than that, and we need to put it into perspective. It's the Gemara, Masechta Erechim, Daf Tesvav Amud Beis, tells us that a Mitzayra is called a Mitzayra. Why? Because the person who has spoken Lashon Hara and is now a Mitzayra, as we know, Tzaras is something that was a nega that came on a person for speaking Lashon Hara. The word Mitzayra comes, it's an acronym, it's two words put together of Moitzi Ra. The Nesivos Shalom tells us that someone who speaks Lashon Hara and he becomes a Mitzayra, we have to know that he's a Moitzi Ra. And what does Moitzi Ra mean? Says in the Nesivos Shalom that this person exudes and is personified Ra. It's the person, it's hard to even say this, but a person who is a Baal Lashon Hara turns totally bad. And what does that mean? We know that no person is perfect. And every person has their flaws and their weaknesses, and they may do things wrong, but essentially, then you're just a person that does something wrong. You're a good person who doesn't always have the strength to withstand every single nisayon. So you're a good person who does something wrong. And says in Nesivos Shalom, that's a regular person. But then there is a Mitzayra. There's a person who's a Moitzi Ra, that someone who has Rahman al-Itzlan become the essence of bad. And it's a very scary thing to hear. What happens to such a person? What happens to such a person is that every action this person now does represents bad. What does that mean? Unbelievably, even the Divrei Torah, that a person who speaks Lashon Hara, even the Divrei Torah that you speak afterwards, we know that Divrei Torah have the capability to be a Sam Chaim, an elixir of life. Torah is alive. Torah gives life. Torah is the essence of life to a person. So when a person learns Torah, really, Torah is like a medicine, like this is a very, very potent mixture, Torah, that gives a person life. But, on the other hand, we know that not only is Torah the biggest life-giving thing we have in the world, Torah could also be a Sam HaMaves to another person. One who is a Baal Lashon Hara, one who speaks Lashon Hara and then learns Torah, the Torah itself destroys the person. The Torah itself, which is the biggest life-giving source and the source of our lives. Kihem Chayenu means that it is our life, and it gives us life. But there's one Avera, a person who is a Moitzi Ra, a person who is now Mitzayra, a person who has spoken Lashon Hara, the Torah itself, every action this person does, even the Torah that he learns and the Torah itself, destroys the person. And so says Chazal. This is not something I would ever make up or something that I would ever profess to actually understand in a deep way, but this is the way it is. Chazal tell us that. Because the whole metzias of the person who speaks Lashon Hara is now bad. And then Nesivos Shalom explains, again, that there are people there's two different types of people. And people come from either one of two different places. I know we're getting a little bit into deep thoughts tonight, but sometimes in Nesivos Shalom gets that way. In the beautiful, warm way that he teaches us lessons and he lifts us up, something he put sometimes and many times, Nesivos Shalom puts things into perspective. And he says like this: there are people, and hopefully most people, that are from a world called the Olam HaBinyan. And we all know those kind of people. A person from Olam HaBinyan, he comes from a world of builders. In other words, their words and action. This person who comes from an Olam HaBinyan, everything that they do and everything that they say builds things up, right? And we all know such people. You're attracted to such people. People that whatever they say, you see that they're building you up. They're building worlds. They're building Torah. They're doing things. They're growing as individuals. These people come from an Olam HaBinyan. And then says in Nesivos Shalom, there are those people who unbelievably, there's a world called, you want to know, you ask people sometimes, where do you think you're coming from? So you want to hope you're from an Olam HaBinyan. You're from the builders of the world. But there are other people who are from a world that's called the Olam HaChorban. They're from a world of destruction. In other words, their words and their actions cause destruction. And that person whose everything that he does causes destruction, even the Torah that he learns, and even the Torah that he professes to give over to other people or for himself, that person has now become a tool of the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara uses you. He wants you to learn Torah. He wants you to act like you're something, because that person's Torah actually destroyed. And that is Moitzi Ra, a person who comes from an Olam HaChorban. And it's not just the outside and the gashmias of such a person. It goes much, much deeper. The pasuk in our parsha tells us, when we are looking at the negoim, and you look at a nega, umar'ehu amoik min ha'or. The look of the nega, it's not just on the skin, amoik min ha'or. It's deeper than the skin. And the Torah is teaching us a very important lesson here about tzaras. It's teaching us a very important lesson of the punishment for speaking Lashon Hara, that umarheu amoik min ha'or. It's much, much deeper. It's not just skin deep. It goes a lot deeper. Any person who becomes a Baal Lashon Hara, it changes the person. It can't just be a surface thing anymore. It goes a lot deeper than that. It penetrates the entire person. And the Torah tells us what the answer is for such a person. The Torah tells us that this person, Badod Yeshev Michutz Lamachaneh Moishavai. This person has to go Michutz Lamachaneh. We don't want him hanging around with other people. We don't want him being a bad influence on other people. We don't want his midah of coming from the Olam HaChurban to spread. We like builders. We like people who are builders. We like people who value other people, who speak good about other people, who look at other people in a positive light. So the Torah tells us, Badod Yeshev Michutz Lamachaneh, this person, don't have any contact with this person where you can adversely affect other people. And the Torah is teaching us this lesson, that there are people who do things wrong, but of course inside they are essentially good. And that's where we have to look at every person. Sometimes you see a person, you don't understand what they're doing, you don't understand why they did something, you don't know where they're coming from, you may not agree, you may have a different minhag, you have a different way of conducting your life. But there's a way to look at a person always in a good light. To look at a person from a good angle, that this person, he's really a good person, but it's tough sometimes, and he slipped up. That person is essentially good. He's a person that, yes, like every other, ein tzaddik ba'aret, there are no people in this world who are perfect and who do everything right. And we only hope that we learn from our mistakes, and that we grow, and that we become better people, and we become real people of the Torah, real people of light, real people from Olam HaBinyan. But a Baal Lashon Hara, and that's, we get into a little bit the Chafetz Chaim some years, and we usually try to stick directly only to Nesivos Shalom, but when you speak about Inyanim of Shmiras HaLashon, the Chafetz Chaim, someone who changed the entire world, and the entire outlook, and brought an awareness to the world of what Lashon Hara is all about. The Chafetz Chaim speaks at length about what happens to a person and the whole world around them if they speak Lashon Hara. And the Chafetz Chaim talks a lot about how surprised people are going to be when they come up to the Olam HaEmes and they find out that all their schusim are transferred over to the people that they spoke Lashon Hara about. And all the good things that the other person, all the negative things that other person may have done, goes on your cheshbon. Why it works that way, how it works the way, I don't know. But all I could say is, the Chafetz Chaim, of course, they say about the Chafetz Chaim that one of the last people that they talk about of having Ruach HaKodesh, so we could trust the Chafetz Chaim, that he knew what he was talking about. And that's what happens from this Lashon Hara. So when we learn this week's Parsha, and we learn the halachas of Negoim, the different types of Negoim, different places of a Nega, we have to understand that we're delivering and we're trying to hopefully accept a deeper message. The message that when a person speaks, a person could destroy people, you could destroy worlds with what you speak. On the other hand, we want to use the words that we do say and the things that we say. You're able to build. You're able to be Olam HaBinyan. You're able to be a person who builds other people, and you get schar for building other people. You build other people up, they change. Let's take the lesson of this week's Parsha, the lesson of Parsha Sazria, the lesson of the Negoim. Let's apply it to ourselves. Make the Chafetz Chaim proud. Make yourself proud. And most of all, make HaKadosh Baruch Hu proud of the way we speak and how we use our mouths to build people and become part of an Olam HaBinyan.